Good morning, everybody. How we doing? Let's kick things off. I was going to take this week off. I was actually trying to take a vacation, but I remembered next week is RSA, so I will not be streaming next week. So I was like, you know what? Let me go in and stream for a few hours. No rest for the wicked. How we all doing? What's up, Galaxy Tab? I do use YubiKeys and I do love them. Yeah. It's like my number one recommendation for a lot of people. Basically start there. Oh, happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. For all the Irish in the crowd. All right, let me turn on D&D. My phone is blowing up. That's how I just remembered it was St. Patty's Day. Random group threads with the family, texting very green pictures. Nana, man. Yeah, just grabbing a banana, protein shake, and some coffee, just so I don't crash out on stream. Kind of crashed out last week. We got a bunch we could talk about. There's some stuff I want to make a video about today. So I'll probably record a YouTube video while live. How about that striker story, huh? That's happened since we went live last week, huh? Feels like an eternity ago, but feels like an eternity ago. Oh man. Am I bumping up against John being live right now too? Oh, he is. He is. What's up, Small Biz? Well, sorry, John, and sorry for anyone choosing between John and I. But I had to get it in before RSA. You did a Cape live stream? What do you mean, with the phone people? That's my sponsor. I just recorded a video for them. I gotta publish that today. Really? Cool. I have like a very little deal with them, but I actually think it's a really cool product, so I don't really care. I'm sure he's got a much bigger deal with them if he's doing live streams with them. Overhead cam, tried it on stream. Damn, John. The professionals, when you guys hang out with me. Who the hell knows? Who the hell knows why? Where do we want to start? Where do we want to start, chat? Sorry, as I caffeinate, I'm like, oh, let me get some food and coffee in me so I don't crash out as I like drag my ass through stream here really quick. All right, I'm gonna stay live till about 12:30. I've got to do. Speaking of professional content creator isms, there, Roman. I am recording some interviews with some very legit people who've been tracking some pretty crazy iOS like spyware level exploit stuff we've talked about. The Karuna stuff, we talked about it on stream. One of the teams that's like tracking them is we're gonna do some interviews together, and then I'm gonna cut like a much bigger video together. Basically, there's some non-public information that I can't publish yet, so I'm gonna talk to them and then see how it goes. Why is Restream chat not working? I see you guys chatting on my screen, but not in my little chat window. Why? Morning, everyone showing up. Can I get Restream to work, please? Restream in OBS, never a good time. Oops, something went wrong. Try reloading the page. Chat just is like not working in OBS right now. I see you guys on my screen, but my chat window, so if I ever like make you guys little like I do when I share my browser, is not working. Let's see, Restream channels. That sounds cool, a little spyware type activity. Yeah, we've talked about it. It's the Karuna exploit kit for iOS. What the hell? Is Restream just down? How am I still streaming if Restream is down? That's what I want to know. I think Restream is down, is what's going on. Website, player, studio, chat. All right, their status page says good, but their website is going super slow. I glitched pretty heavy a few minutes ago. I think Restream's having some issues. My internet is crystal clear, but their website, Restream website, is like really not loading. Damn, dude. That sucks. Do I just like chug on forward? Let's try to load chat one more time. I might have to load chat. Yeah, what the heezy? How am I going to do this? So chat won't load. Their website kind of loads. All right, I see my thing. Okay, chat. Someone say something. I have chat up in a browser. I want to see if that's working. Someone say anything. Okay, wait. It looks like it's up again in OBS too. Am I still here? Teehee. Yeah. Okay, got it. Okay, we're back, people. We're back. I don't know what's going on with Restream. Their status page says all systems go, so that's super weird. All right, we're back. So yeah, the Karuna. Thanks, chat, for spamming anything, anything, something, bing bong. So the Karuna stuff apparently there's more to be talked about. So I'm going to talk to some of this team. Here, let's bring it up. We're gonna mentally prepare for Matt putting his interview hat on and interviewing some of the experts that are tracking this this exploit kit over here, right? So why this is interesting, like in general, is that it's a nation state level like exploit kit on pretty modern versions of iOS, but not that modern, right? And then like the reason it's interesting is we saw it all of a sudden not in nation state land, right? So like we started seeing it in fake Chinese crypto sites and scams and whatnot. So usually when you get these like nation state level exploit kits, these are like crazy, crazy high dollar to develop and then sell. They're worth a ton. They're worth a ton, right? And so we can't tell if like the people using it don't realize what they have, but like we're seeing it in pretty low level activity, right? Like low level cybercrime stuff. What's up, Kilobyte? So it's kind of confusing. So anyway, I'm going to interview this crew. Basically, there's some additional info that's not public yet that iVerify is going to make public soon. And I'm going to interview them about kind of the whole thing, plus the like follow-on stuff that I can't talk about yet. And then we're going to put out like a, I don't know, kind of a soup to nuts. I was talking to my editor. I kind of want to do it almost like a docu-series type thing. Like you guys had me pull up a video on stream the other day. Hold on. There was a video you guys had me pull up that I sent to my editor, and I was like, I think we got to do something like this. Yeah, here. So like this guy did kind of this, it was almost like a little mini documentary, right? Come on, you little bitch. There.
A Florida state representative, financially backed by a scandal-ridden private prison company, introduced an Orwellian surgeon's company. Show you the receipt.
You know what I mean? Like he's talking and then he's showing receipts and he's got like, you know, a whole story that he's going to tell. I think that this is kind of the style that I'm going to try to go. It's not my usual style, but since we've got like a pretty crazy web to weave around this exploit kit, I think I'll kind of do me. I'll kind of do some receipts. I'll cut in some clips from the interviews that I'm about to record this afternoon and go from there. That's what I think we're going to do. We got the double Kilobyte. We got Bill, McMedden, Brandon, Galaxy, everyone. The gang's all here. The gang's all here. Sounds like a good idea, right? Okay. I'm going to try to be a more professional YouTuber. I'm going to get footage in conversation with experts to cut into my normal Yap sessions. Whew. Growing up here, everybody. Growing up. We've got a bunch we could talk about. Where do we want to start? Did you guys see this one? So I haven't made a video about this breach yet because I can't figure out A, if it's real, or like B, what's going on with it. Did you see this TELUS claimed breach? So the Shiny Hunters group, you know, very prolific threat actor. They're behind a lot of the recent Salesforce breaches, ton of breaches, but they claimed, where is it? Here, am I staring at it? Yeah. They claimed to have stolen a petabyte of data from TELUS. TELUS is a very, very large, like, contracting company, like contracted employees. It's like staff aug and stuff like that. If you want like an army of, Ukrainian people to help you do something like write code or moderate stuff or whatever, TELUS is the one that you go through. We can't confirm that this is all valid, but a petabyte is pretty insane. Based off the data that they've seen, scroll up for a sec. Here you go, Bill. Bill, this breach is talked about elsewhere. I don't know if it's legit. So I haven't made a video about it because I just can't tell. Snippets and samples. This is what, the threat actor groups usually do, right? They're like, hey, to prove that we're for real, here's some samples. So the stuff that they have been sharing is pretty juicy, right? So they're saying that this is allegedly compromised, successfully exfiltrated employee information, including SSN or national ID, TELUS hash passwords, API keys, and OAuth tokens. And this is where things kind of get a little spicier for me, right? Call record details, call metadata, telecom customers, PII, HR records, agent performance records, not sure, Salesforce accounts, contact leads and records, financial records, with ACH info. GitHub repo access to 20 organizations adjacent to TELUS, which includes 20,000 repos. Customer and agent call records in Wave. So like this is probably where the petabyte starts to add up. Is like we have audio recordings of the call records. Some customer database instances. I don't know what this stuff is. Glean, TELUS, background check. Background check files. Unc has access to FBI, RCP, and CISA background checks. Glean, TELUS, confidential reports and investigations. Glean, TELUS, confidential reports of tax filings. As of writing this, TELUS has not done anything other than confirm the compromise with some journalists. So they've come out and said, like, yeah, we've had a security incident. But is this the security incident? If so, that's a spicy meatball, everybody. And a petabyte of info? I don't know. So I think we're gonna probably see more of this one. I can pull up the bleeping article. Let me find the bleeping article one sec. Let's see. So bleeping says TELUS Digital confirms breach after hacker claims a petabyte theft. This is Canadian business process outsourcing giant. Yeah. So like I said, if you need like to outsource to an army of random people in random countries, TELUS is your spot. So a lot of big companies use them. TELUS Digital is the digital services and business processing outsourcing arm of Canadian telecom provider TELUS, providing customer support, content moderation, AI data services, and other outsourced operational services to companies worldwide. Because BPO providers often handle customer support, billing, internal auth tools for multiple companies, they can become attractive targets. It's a really good point. So Shiny Hunters, did they get there through Salesforce? Or was that tweet just kind of saying, these are the people behind Salesforce? Sorry, guys. It's freezing in Texas today. And for some reason, my office is still not turning the heat on. Bleeping was told in January that TELUS had suffered the breach and contacted the company with questions, but did not receive the response. Yesterday, TELUS confirmed it suffered a breach, currently investigating what was stolen and what customers were affected. Hackers claim a petabyte in the SalesLoft drift breach. Threat actors downloaded Salesforce data for 760 companies, including customer support tickets. Shiny Hunters say they discovered Google Cloud Platform credentials for TELUS in the drift data. Okay, so it is related. See, so when I made videos about this drift data, I was like, this is one of those that's going to have ripple effects. Here's a ripple, right? Because if they stole a bunch of these secrets and like passwords and stuff that were in SalesLoft data, they were of course going to use them. And here you go. This is why literally when I was covering this story, I was like, hey, if you're a customer of this, you got some secrets to rotate. Do you guys remember this one? Would it help if I went back to the SalesLoft stuff? So this is back in September. Salesforce records stolen in drift hacks. So SalesLoft drift, to make it incredibly confusing, SalesLoft is not Salesforce, okay? So SalesLoft drift is like in the Salesforce ecosystem of like plugins and other stuff, right? So this particular cyber threat actor has been targeting Salesforce customers using social engineering and malicious OAuth applications to breach Salesforce instances and downloading data. In March, one of the threat actors breached SalesLoft's GitHub repository, which contained the private source code for the company. They used TruffleHog to scan the source code for secrets, which resulted in finding OAuth tokens for the SalesLoft drift and drift email platforms. Okay, so here's the breach. They got into the GitHub repo. The GitHub repo had hard-coded secrets. Truffalog's a great secret scanner. It's not a malicious thing. It's a great tool. You should all go use it. They have a free open source version. You scan your source code for secrets that shouldn't be there. And then they use that. They found OAuth tokens for their own platform, right? What's up, Jay? And then they were able to use that. SalesLoft Drift is a third-party platform that connects the Drift AI chat agent with Salesforce instances, allowing organizations to sync conversations, leads, and support cases into their CRM, Salesforce. Drift email is used to manage email replies and organized into the CRM and marketing automation databases, right? So this is like AI chat and email stuff attached to Salesforce. So we're calling it SalesLoft. That's what the company is called, SalesLoft. Drift is the product. Okay, kind of confusing, but that's how they got in. Well, turns out a ton of people use Salesforce to store a ton of sensitive information. So Salesforce in general is meant to just like track leads and like follow up on sales stuff. People use Salesforce in so many unnatural ways, it's crazy, right? So one of the more common unnatural ways to use Salesforce is to tie it to customer support stuff, right? I guess it kind of makes sense, right? If you're up for renewing a contract, you might want to know all the support cases that happened this year. Did this person have like a good experience this year, or were they bitching at our customer support people the whole year, right? Might be important information for your sales team to know, etc. So this is one of those tools that helps do that. But the problem is, once they had the OAuth tokens for just this third-party tool, they were also able to access a lot of the Salesforce information. Make sense? So through that Drift compromise, they were able to get into the SalesLoft stuff and then get records of any SalesLoft customers who had attached their Salesforce to SalesLoft. Okay? So this wasn't just like one customer. This was anyone who used it. To use the Drift OAuth tokens, the threat actors stole approximately 1.5 billion data records for 760 companies, account, contact, case, opportunity, and user object tables. All right. And including a whole bunch of like case information, right? That people would attach to this stuff. So people put a lot of secret information into the notes against a file in Salesforce. So that's what they found for a lot of these big old companies, right? So they started going after a lot of these people for ransom based on some of these companies that they had. But here they said, that was in September. Now we're literally this week, right? TELUS apparently was one of those customers of SalesLoft. And then where do we go? The threat actors downloaded Salesforce data for 760 companies, including customer support tickets. These support cases were scanned for credentials, auth tokens, and other secrets. Shiny Hunter said that they discovered Google Cloud creds for TELUS in the Drift data. Okay, so in some sort of like customer support case or something, someone who works at TELUS or someone related to someone who had cloud platform creds for TELUS threw this stuff into a SalesLoft ticket that got stored in Salesforce. And then the threat actors were able to get it. So then they got onto Google Cloud Platform, and then apparently, I'm guessing BigQuery was attached to that Google Cloud Platform. They were able to grab a bunch of the data. So they've stolen close to a petabyte of data belonging to the company and many of its customers. The threat actors shared the names of 28 well-known companies allegedly impacted by the breach. Bleeping Computer will not disclose the names of these companies as we have been unable to independently verify whether they are actually impacted, which is responsible of Bleeping Computer. They also claim to have stolen source code, FBI background checks, financial information, Salesforce data, and voice recordings of support calls for various companies. What's up, Coyote? What's up, Deepak? The breach reportedly impacts TELUS telecom services, including its customer fixed line business. The stolen data for these services allegedly includes detailed call records, voice recordings, and campaign data of the actual telecom company. Token phase attack. I like that. Akira's better. Shiny ain't getting paid like they used to be. Are we stack ranking threat acting groups now? They began extorting TELUS in February, demanding $65 million in exchange for not leaking the company's data. TELUS did not respond to their emails. Interesting. So TELUS confirmed the breach. So I guess I should probably talk about this. I kind of been avoiding it, but here we are. All right. So we haven't talked about the Stryker one on stream yet because Stryker stuff happened after stream on Thursday, I believe. We heard about it, right? Tier list threat group short vid idea. Dude, that's just asking for them to fuck with me is what that's asking for. They've fucked with me plenty already. All right. So no malware needed is interesting. I thought they did use wiper malware. So we have some more information. So you guys, does anyone need me to go over what happened with Stryker? Because I don't think it happened before stream on Thursday, right? Or did we talk about it Thursday on stream? I don't remember when we talked about it. Last week, March 11th. Oh, maybe we did. That's probably too long ago. Maybe we did talk about it on stream and I'm just blanking. I know that I made videos about it, but all right, quick recap. Stryker medical supply company, Iranian hackers targeted them for some reason. And the reason this is crazy is that usually in these cyber attacks, as we saw with the Shiny Hunters, there's usually some sort of financial motive or espionage motive. In this case, it was just pure cyber attack retaliation, and they just wiped everything they got their hands on, okay? Yes, this was because of Intune was the device management software that they were able to get. So the real crazy part about this one is my DMs were full. I made a video on Instagram and stuff. I had DMs from so many employees of Stryker going, yep, today sucked. Like my phone, I woke up and my phone didn't work. Like this is nuts, right? It's because MDM got obliterated. And so this is why if your job ever wants to install their corporate management profile on your device, you ask for them to send you a separate phone. We're close to finding subs for some items that we get from Stryker. Oh, that's right, Killbot. You're in that field, right? Man. I slept on my watch weird. My wrist is all red and sore. Yeah, I've got some surgeon friends that saying that their life got really screwed up from this too. So the thing that I was kind of honing in on was, holy crap, people's personal devices. If you just worked for this company, you woke up and your cell phone was wiped. You had to your SIM card was wiped. You had to literally call your carrier to get back into your phone. So they're saying no malware needed. So this was just straight used a wipe command in Intune was all they had to do. So I thought that they did probably, especially to the servers, I figured that they distributed some sort of wiper malware. Between 5 and 8 a.m., they used the wipe command in Intune to erase data from 80,000 devices. The attacker carried out the action after compromising an admin account and creating a new global administrator account. Investigation is being conducted by Microsoft and Unit 42. Ooh, I've got some homies on both of these teams I should text and see if they'll talk to me about. Employees have class action lawsuit. That's a good question, Jay. Also, pretty rare for employees to sue their own employer, right? Yeah, I don't know if it's just an RM command. I think it was a straight up wipe command. Like I think it's a built-in feature in Intune. I think that's what this link is. Yeah, it's literally a feature. Feature, not a bug. And we'll wipe any of these. Striker's update highlights that the attack did not impact any of its products, connected or otherwise. It was limited exclusively to internal Microsoft corporate environment. All Striker products across our global portfolio remain in use. Restoration efforts are currently underway, the main focus being on resuming shipping and transactional services. Customers are encouraged to maintain normal comms with company personnel while the infrastructure is steadily recovered. Any order placed before the cyber attack will be honored as systems are restored, while those placed during the disruption will be processed when systems are back online and the supply flow resumes as normal. That's wild. Wild. More rare to have my phone wiped for them, Jay. That's a good point, Jay. I was like, oh, it's rare for employees to sue their own company. He goes, yeah, it's also rare for my phone to wind up wiped because I worked here. That's a good point. Probably not. You probably don't have a legal leg to stand on. You probably signed some agreement, when doing all that. They're a big enough company. I'm sure they have some weird agreement that you signed, to do whatever. Spicy meatball with hair growing on it. Yeah. So the other crazy part about this, there's two main crazy parts, right? So I think one is this whole MDM thing. We haven't seen this level of like, oh, just straight nuke and wipe everything from an attack like this. Number two is this is a private company that I don't know if you could even really consider them critical infrastructure. Maybe, right? Private company targeted in during a war as part of the conflict. That's also kind of rare, right? So that's kind of nuts. Should I make a long YouTube video about that? Maybe at this point. Maybe. What else we got? Due to a bunch of these cyber attacks, sanctions have started coming out. So EU sanctions Chinese and Iranian companies for the cyber attacks. So China's foreign ministry said on Tuesday it opposed the sanctions, urged Brussels to correct its erroneous approach. I think I had other information on this. Applauds EU sanctions targeting Chinese. 2 Chinese companies, a pair of Chinese individuals, and 1 Iranian entity have been sanctioned for cyber attacks against the EU. I haven't read this yet. I wonder if it's related. The Chinese firm Integrity Technology Group provided products and technical support to assist in the targeting of more than 65,000 devices across 6 member states, while Axon Information Technology, another Chinese company, provided hacking services that targeted the critical infrastructure of EU and third parties. The 2 Chinese individuals also listed today are co-founders of the company and were responsible for and involved in the cyber attacks. Which cyber attacks? I wish I could like tie these to all this stuff. J.O. I deploy MDM. It's part and parcel coverage. Buyer beware. Yep. That was my other main point was like, you might install this MDM on your phone and your company might say, hey, we're only going to touch corporate information on this phone. We're not going to touch personal information, but that is a policy choice, not a technical guardrail. Sanctions are so effective historically. This will help a lot. Yeah. Long line of historical evidence. Yep. Coyote, are you being sarcastic about sanctions being effective? I can't tell. Sometimes they are. Speaking of suing, we talked about suing your employers for this. we've got some teens that are suing XAI over Grok generating non-consensual adult images for them. Don't be sorry. I'm just curious if you were actually sarcastic or not. I don't know. It's hard to tell. Yeah, sarcasm. Yeah, that's what I figured. I read it as sarcasm. All right. So if you guys don't remember, this whole like wave of Grok, like, I don't know, generating just absolutely disgusting images for people without their consent was going on for a few weeks here. Seems like we're going to see some more lawsuits about it. So a lawsuit was just filed yesterday in federal California court. 3 young women whose images and videos were altered by a Grok user without their knowledge to show them nude or otherwise overtly sexual ways. Yeah, this sucked, right? This was awful. Is it still happening or did they put guardrails in place? I definitely stopped seeing it happening as much. Unspecified damages. Their lives have been shattered and devastating loss of privacy, dignity, and personal safety. They're all under the age of 18, which is just insane. I saw some vile stuff go on that week that Grok went off the rails. I saw some vile stuff. Like, I was just scrolling Twitter and the stuff that I saw pop up, like with children in it, I was like, this needs to be absolutely nuked from orbit, right? So I'm glad that some of this is going to court. Someone should answer for this, right? There's no way that this should have been allowed to A, go live, B, stay live, like when they realized what it was being used for as prolifically as it was being used for. Just absolutely insane, right? That it went on for as long as it did. Her high school yearbook photo was used to show her in non-consensual adult material. There was a Discord server, a private chat space that had other imagery all about her. I mean, just nuts, right? And Musk's defense is, well, Grok didn't just do this on his own. Users requested this. Like, give me a effing break, right? Like, that's a defense. Anyway, I'm excited that this one's going to go to court and some people are going to have to describe why that happened and what the hell they're doing about it. Yeah, what's crazy is it's after they knew it continued. That's what I'm saying. Like, it went live. I understand that things that go live are going to get abused. And I just don't understand how you could be on the other side of the keyboard with the keys to like Grok and how it works. See like literal CSAM being generated by the tool that you made and not immediately pull the plug until you figure that out. I literally cannot understand sitting in the chair, like with your finger on the key that like lets this continue to go and just be like, what? Grok didn't do it. Users requested that stuff. Users requested that. That's not my tool that I made and put out for the world. Users are using my tool in weird ways. It's gross, right? Gross. It's a liability. I hope there's a liability there. I'm not optimistic that there's actually any liability there. But I mean, liability aside, just like how, right? How do you as a person sit and watch literal CSAM be generated on your platform with your AI tool? And it's like, yeah, cool. We're going to let that rock. We're going to let that go. Did we see the director of national counterterrorism resign? Did we see this, everybody? Director of National Counterterrorism Joe Kent, I cannot in good conscience support the ongoing war in Iran. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation, and it's clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. This seems like a big deal, right? Am I going to hit a paywall on AP? Does AP have a paywall? No. Okay, good. Yeah. The one of the top like responses under this, we don't have to get all political, but Director of Counter National Terrorism and the Iran stuff is close enough to what we've been talking about to bring this up. I think this top reply kind of sums it up, right? One day everyone will have always been against this. I think this guy has publicly taken the pro everything going on stance, and then all of a sudden woke up and was like, nope, I can no longer stand with this. It's unconscionable, even though he did a lot of it, right? He was in charge of an agency tasked with analyzing and detecting threats. His resignation reflects unease within Trump's base about the war and shows that its questions about its justification for the use of force in Iran extend to the right. Anything. I don't know. This is worth noting and keeping an eye on, right? Because who else gets put in their place? Especially amid all the cyber attacks going on. In terms of like who can point to the cyber attacks about, the threat level of things. Crimes are being hedged. Yeah. Yeah. It's not like Kent is, Zoran Mamdani over here, right? He's like a far right conspiracy theorist. Yeah. I don't know. Not too much to talk about. Just like we're going to need to keep an eye on this kind of stuff as it comes to this conflict. I support the values and the foreign policies you've campaigned for, which you enacted in your first term. Until June, you understood that wars in the Middle East were a trap that robbed America of precious lives. Yeah. I don't know. All right, we don't have to talk too much about this. I don't pretend for this to be a political stream, but that's close enough to home for all of us, right? All right, what else we got? We talked shiny hunters. We got some new ClickFix stuff we could talk about this morning. Oh, what did I want? Oh, wait. There was one other thing. Oh, I remember what I want to talk about today. I had another major topic today. This one is what I thought I'd make a video about. So I'll probably make 2 videos today, one of which we already talked about, right? We'll do Stryker. I don't have a long video about Stryker yet, so we'll do Stryker. God, Mashable, just atrocious site. Absolutely atrocious. I need a major topic intro clip. Oh, I do. I got to note that. I got to hit like a button, right? It's like do like a little breaking news thing. I had a few people's Twitter accounts I wanted to pull up about this. Was this it? Yeah, we're going to go through this thread. Sorry, guys. I'm just grabbing a few things I should have grabbed earlier. I've got 2 more hours live. We're okay. I was like all worried. I just realized what time it was. Hold on. There's another thread. Come on, where'd your thread go, buddy? But the monster truck, I need a monster truck vibe. New topic. All right, guys. So I'm obsessed with a book series called Dungeon Crawler Carl. I don't know if you guys have read this or listened to this audiobook. I think I just need the whole series on this to take up this whole bookshelf. So if you guys haven't, it's by far the best audiobook ever created. Okay. Is this the other thread? Where is it? Yeah. Here it is. Okay. I've got 2 threads. Glassworm supply chain attack. All right. I'll look it up. What's up? Lacrage? Is that how you say your name? Dungeon Crawl Carl with a C. Carl with a C. DCC. I like it so much. I never reread books. I literally just re-listened to the first book. There's 7 books. The 8th book is coming out in May. I just re-listened to the first one in the last 2 days. I just like melted through it in the last 2 days. For the second time. It's the second time I've listened to it. Have you guys never heard of Dungeon Crawler Carl? How have I not talked about it on stream yet? How do I explain Dungeon Crawler Carl? All right, we're gonna pull it up. Side tangent, because this is very important to me. Like I said, you like my enthusiasm. All right, so Dungeon Crawler Carl. I just finished my second read of the first book this morning. Okay. I met the guy. He came to Austin. I met him. I got his autograph just a few weeks ago. He self-publishes these books. He's not a very popular author. The category of writing is called lit RPG, literary role-playing game, like literary RPG. Okay. This is a very not popular type of book. It's basically, most of the time, it's basically like reading instead of participating in a Dungeons and Dragons campaign. Okay, that's what like lit RPG is. Very unapproachable for like the average person. Dungeon Crawler Carl is not only approachable, but they hired a voice actor to do the audiobook that is so good and does so many different voices for all of the characters. It is just crazy awesome to listen to. So go ahead and buy the physical copies if you like that. But please, if you're going to read it, also be listening to it while you read it. I like to do that sometimes. It's called immersive reading. You like listen to the audiobook while you're reading the book, and you kind of like match the speed to how fast your eyes move. It's super cool, especially if you're kind of ADD-ish, like I think a lot of people are these days. Kind of keeps you locked in. How many times have you like read a page and you have to like go, what the hell did that page just say? And go to the top and read it again because you just were like, your eyes were reading, but your brain wasn't. So the audiobook is so good that if you even remotely like audiobooks, do the audiobook. If you generally don't like audiobooks, please try it on this one, even if you're doing it while reading. So this is the premise of Dungeon Crawler Carl. This happens in the first couple pages, so no spoilers. Earth was like visited by aliens like many years ago, where we were seeded by an aliens. We were a planet that was seeded by aliens to do certain things to the planet, and then eventually they were going to come back and claim their mineral rights to the planet. Right? Gozar, thanks for following. And welcome. And these aliens do this throughout the universe, and every time they do it, they come to a planet that they seeded to claim claim their mineral rights basically. And according to like galactic contract, they have to give the species on the planet a chance to save their planet, and they do so with an 18-floor dungeon. And all the people on the planet get to opt in to going to the dungeon to try to survive. And if you survive to the 18th floor, you save your planet and you get to rule your planet now, right? And so Carl is the main character, and his cat. He was outside trying to get his cat out of a tree in the middle of the night when this like the stairs open to this dungeon. Everyone on Earth gets like this voice in their head explaining the whole situation. They have to go into the dungeon in order to do it. So Carl goes in with his cat. His cat winds up becoming like sentient and the co-main character, and her name is Princess Donut. So it's Carl and Princess Donut, and they go on basically a Dungeons and Dragons campaign together. And it is absurd. It is absurd. It is hilarious. There's an AI that runs the game. The AI has a foot fetish, and is the AI is also a bit of a psychopath and is like going off the rails as the series goes on, losing control of things. They get a pet velociraptor at some point. It's like, it's absurd, but like the story is so good that like the absurdity is just funny. It's not like absurd for the sake of being absurd, but the story is actually very good. It keeps you going. It keeps you going. Highly recommend. Highly recommend. And the whole series is really good. So Book 8's coming out soon. I really like these covers that Penguin Random House did too. He self-publishes them, and so these are not what the covers looked like when he was publishing them. But by like book 4, he got so popular that Penguin Random House licensed the rights to print physical copies for him because he was just self-publishing the ebook. Can your 13-year-old read it? Or is it MA? Might be a little too mature for 13. Let's see. Let's see what the age rating is. 16 plus is what they say. Yeah, I'd say 16 is probably a safe bet. It's pretty violent and gory, which is like one thing for a 13-year-old, but they do kind of go into like weird sexual stuff in the absurdity realm, right? Like at some point, one of the characters is like a disembodied head of an inflatable sex doll. Like I can't, like it's so hard to even make up, but yeah. Like I said, the AI has a foot fetish, right? So the AI is like trying to get Carl goes into the dungeon barefoot, and he's like trying to find boots like right off the bat, but he winds up like killing some like spider monsters with his feet, like stomping on some spiders. And the AI is like, ooh, if you didn't know, I like that. Like, and then gives like kind of encourages him with stuff. Buddy, please answer you. Sorry, what did I miss? What did I miss? And are we buddies yet? This is your first time in stream, I think, because I don't recognize your name. So buddy, please answer me. First time in stream. What'd you ask? Ask it again. I'm sorry. I'm not actually that sorry. Got to be there. Definitely check it out. Highly recommend. Highly recommend. Buddy the Elf, what's your favorite color? Whoa, major distraction. What was I going to talk about? I was going to talk about this bad boy. So I think this is worth a video today too. Be a good song title. Which is a good song title, Bill? Disembodied head of an inflatable sex doll named Samantha, who's possessed by a god. I swear all of that is accurate. Oh, God, it's crazy. Anyone ever watched WWE or WWF growing up in like the 90s? Remember there was a character called Al Snow? Never trust a person that calls you buddy or friend before they are either. Buddy, please answer me. Welcome. Thanks for subscribing if you're here. Yeah, you hear about that news too. What question did you ask, brudda? Buddy, please answer me. Well, ask the question again. I don't see it. All right. thing I hate about Hacker News is that this is a link. I like to like highlight stuff and click on stuff when I'm reading for some reason, and this is a link, and I constantly, I'm not your pal, buddy. I'm not your friend, guy. I'm not your guy, Holmes. All right. So people are freaking out about this. I'm not freaking out about it for the same reason that other people are freaking out about it. Some people are freaking out about it because this headline seems like scary, right? I need to figure out, you guys can't really read chat if I have a white browser up, huh? I got to figure out how to make chat more readable. To do. Someone remind me that I want to make chat more readable. How do I do that? Could I put like a... I got to figure out. Anyone have any suggestions on how I can make your little chats up here more readable while I'm sharing my browser? That's a rough one. It's like the white on white kind of sucks. Background. Yeah, I don't know if Streamlabs has like a background thing. Does Filter have image mask blend? Can I... What is image? Let me select black. Okay. Opacity. Alpha. I don't think any of this is working. No, I was trying to do a filter in OBS and it's not working. 50% transparent black background is what I was thinking. Alpha mask color channel. Blend black stretch image. That's exactly what I was thinking, but it's not really doing anything. Maybe image mask blend is not the right thing. Yeah, it's not. All right. Sorry, guys. I'll figure that out off stream. I was hoping there was like a background effect that I could do on OBS easily, and then it would just be solved. Go dark theme on the actual websites. Yeah, I guess I could try to figure that out too. All right. So in the meantime, people are freaking out about this headline. I would like everyone to realize this is, I was going to make a video today. I didn't want to like, sometimes I make videos that are like, hey, everyone chill. You got this one wrong. Because, and I feel bad because some other big cyber creators make the like freak out video about this, right? So I saw some creators that were like, your Instagram DMs are no longer private. That's not correct. It's not the correct takeaway from this, okay? The correct takeaway from this is, hey, your Instagram DMs were never private because none of you were using the end-to-end encryption feature in your Instagram DMs. This was a opt-in feature. The reason they're turning it off is because so few people used it. So a lot of people are like, oh, my DMs are not private anymore. I guarantee you weren't using end-to-end encrypted Instagram DMs. That they had a feature, but no one used it. Very few people were opting in to end-to-end encryption in their DMs, so we're removing it. So your Instagram DMs aren't private. No, the like 7 of you that use this feature are probably upset. But like, if you thought your Instagram DMs were private to begin with, you were incorrect because you probably did not opt into this, right? Testing end-to-end for Instagram direct messages. Wait, default end-to-end chats in Messenger has begin to roll out support for end-to-end traps in Messenger for personal calls and one-to-one personal messages by default. This wasn't for Instagram DMs though, right? This is for Facebook Messenger. Of course, the UK hated it. The UK hates encryption because they want to spy on everyone. The feature is only available in some areas and is not on by default. Why would it be a good move to remove it? If you were opt-in, definitely unsettling. Yeah. So, no, it's not a good move that they're removing it. That's what I'm saying. I'm not freaking out about this in the way that everyone else is. I still think it's bad. TikTok just also said that they're not going to do it. Oh, of course, we're going to save the children here, right? All privacy. Good night. Bye, buddy. You never asked your question again. Did you ask it again and I didn't see it again? Oh, it was while I was doing the background stuff. Sorry, I feel bad now. Is it worth using CBP, Certified Blockchain Professional, in the journey to cyber red teaming? I've never heard of CBP. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, buddy. I've never heard of it. I can't answer because I've never heard of it. If I've never heard of it, maybe that tells you something. I've never heard Certified Blockchain Professional. LOL. Sorry, Roman. I was messing with the background color when they asked. Child safety advocates have argued that the technology creates a safe space for criminals, prevents companies from complying with warrants, referred to as going dark. Yeah, of course. Save the children is always the privacy answer. Oh, it's all right. There's not too many of you in chat to like need crazy systems. All right. So Matthew Green is like my crypto, like God. Okay. He's who I consider, the high holy council of cryptography. Okay. He's a professor of cryptography at Johns Hopkins. He consults with Meta. So him taking a stance on this is prevalent, right? Because he has helped design a lot of the encryption systems that Meta uses. Meta appears to be reversing its strong stance on encryption. The first obvious casualty is they're abandoning and disabling end-to-end encryption in Instagram DMs. Okay? A big tell is the statement by Meta in this article. Very few people were opting in. Meta knows that opt-in encryption doesn't get adoption, which is why their original strategy was to make it on by default in WhatsApp and Messenger. They seem to have quietly abandoned the push for encryption to be a default, and now they're quietly abandoning encryption. This is a very big 180. Just in case you don't believe me, here's some resources documenting Meta's very public commitment to default encryption in Instagram DMs, not opt-in. This is their About Facebook page. This is a press release from 2022, expanding end-to-end encryption. We're publishing the findings and recommendations of an independent human rights impact assessment that we commissioned on our plans to expand end-to-end encryption by default to Messenger and Instagram DMs. This assessment found that expanding end-to-end encryption enables the realization of a diverse range of human rights and recommended a range of integrity and safety measures to address unintended adverse human rights. The report includes 45 recommendations, including our commitment to end-to-end encryption, implementing 34 of the recommendations. He said, they're not even reading the documents that they're frantically updating. This one promises default end-to-end encryption, then this week suddenly pretends it was optional. So originally published August 2022, people want to trust that their online conversation, this is on the same page, on their about page. They want to trust that their online conversations with friends and family are private and secure. We're working hard to protect your personal messaging calls with the end-to-end encryption by default in Messenger and Instagram. Today, we're announcing our plans to test the new secure storage feature for backups of your end-to-end chats. And then literally on the same page, but above it, very few people were opting into end-to-end encryption messages in DMs. So we're removing this option from Instagram in coming months. you can keep messaging with end-to-end encryption easily on WhatsApp. So here's my other, this is my actual freak out on this, right? Is A, none of them were private to begin with. You weren't using this feature. B, what does this mean for the future of end-to-end encryption in WhatsApp? Which currently is like in the upper echelon of private communications, right? It's kind of up there with Signal. It's just not, it uses the same technology as Signal. It's just not open source, right? And Meta owns it. So there's some like trust issues with that. There was some backup data and metadata that got leaked for that. But in general, WhatsApp is the most widely used messenger on the planet. Billions of accounts, billions with a B accounts. And the fact that it is end-to-end encrypted by default is fantastic, right? Some more like that. This is 2023 about them. Mark Zuckerberg personally promised that the privacy feature would launch by default on Messenger and Instagram chat. WhatsApp still remains, but how long do you think that will be true? And then this is the point. No, not Telegram. Telegram is not encrypted by default, and Telegram is impossible to end encrypt group chats with. So any group chats in Telegram are not end-to-end encrypted. You can do end-to-end encrypted one-to-one chats, but it's not on by default. So Telegram is not. I have a whole video on. If you're interested in this topic, I do a whole video of Signal versus WhatsApp versus Telegram is like the title of the video. I go into some other ones because there's like a long tail of other secure messengers. Signal is the S tier, just FYI, right? I think Threema is kind of up there too for people, but just no one uses it. So Signal just wins in the S tier because it has pretty wide adoption and the best cryptography, and it's open source. The one thing people don't like is you have to have a phone number to sign up, right? So Threema, you don't. That's like the one win that Threema has, but the major loss that Threema has is no one uses it. Who the hell uses Threema? You know what I mean? You can't talk to people. Like more and more people have Signal, right? But okay, here's the other like, oh shit moment. So much valuable training data that Meta will now have access to, right? If you think about it, in the world of AI, organic conversation information is very valuable. Very valuable. What does this say? AI is killing end-to-end. The AI Emperor's new encryption close. He wrote this in July. Twitter's new encryption architecture is subpar, and it's probably not a bug. It's an AI feature. XChat is not unique in that sense. Sup, Portbuster. Yeah, XChat's encryption is crap. Leading cryptographers say it's no good. There's not even perfect forward secrecy, which is kind of table stakes these days. What's the AI case here? Apple's iMessage is great. Currently, AI relies on processing power of the service provider's powerful cloud, but by definition, end-to-end encryption prevents these servers from accessing users' data. Described by Meta, the current state of AI processing, which relies on large language models often running on servers rather than mobile hardware, requires that users' requests are visible to the provider. Although that works for many use cases, it presents challenges in enabling people to use AI to process private messages while preserving the level of privacy afforded by end-to-end encryption. There it is. Building private processing tools, engineering at Meta. Meta and WhatsApp can't access your messages. Your messages are never stored, built in the open. Okay, T-minus till this gets walked back, April 2025. When does the pressure for the AI data of your WhatsApp conversations get too big? Huh? We built out a new technology that allows users around the world to use AI in a privacy-preserving way. Enable AI capabilities with the privacy that people have come to expect for WhatsApp. Using Meta AI through WhatsApp, including features that use private processing, must be optional. We must provide transparency when our features use private processing and users can control it. No one except you and the people you're talking to can access or share your personal messages, not even Meta or WhatsApp. Are they saying they're not using PQC? No, that's not what they're saying. They're just walking back a commitment to, by default, end-to-end encryption. So this whole private processing thing, our AI models process data in a confidential virtual machine without storing any messages in order to generate a response. Interesting. So are they saying they're training on? Are they saying they're training on WhatsApp messages, but in this quote unquote private way? Data shared to private processing is processed in an environment which does not make it available to any other systems. Protection is further upheld by encrypting data end-to-end between the client and the private processing application. Interesting. Enable AI capabilities with privacy in mind. Private processing. Summarizing unread WhatsApp threads or getting writing suggestions in our secure and private environment. Private processing will allow users to leverage powerful AI features while preserving WhatsApp core privacy promise. Interesting. All right, so this is back in April, but where was this part? He's saying that it's a challenge for them, right? However, the current state of AI processing, which relies on large language models often running on servers, requires that users' requests are visible to the provider. Although that works for many use cases, it presents challenges in enabling people to use AI to process private messages while preserving the layer of privacy, which is kind of what they're kind of going out to solve here, right? Bill, which article? I'm kind of talking about this thread, which then I found this article in the replies, which is old, but brings context, which then linked to this article by Meta, which is even older, but is context. So there you guys go. There's all the links that I'm using right now. All right, so when some people were horrified about Instagram like end-to-end encryption ending, I guarantee you weren't using it. Guarantee it, right? Like anyone like reacting wasn't using it. It was like not a clear thing to just turn on, right? But this last post by Matthew Green is the eye-opening one for me. So much valuable training data that they'll have access to, right? I'm going to keep harping on this. Meta's push to remove encryption and lobby for age verification laws at the same time. So now we're tying this to age verification. I've already made a video about this. We talked about age verification stuff in, in Discord and whatnot, right? Well, it turns out, oh gosh, hold on one second. I'm about to show you what I'm going to be. Hold on, everybody. We're gonna see what I am right now. Okay. All right, everyone. This is me. I'm just pulling up a quick photo of myself right now. Okay, hold on. So here we go. So this is me. This is me at the moment. I'm about to tie it all together. We have one more thread to pin up on our conspiracy board here, okay? How does age verification tie to the peeling back of end-to-end encryption protection? Anyone? Anyone? Look at this. Whoa, 65 million views. Insane. VX Underground, 65 million views on this tweet. All right. We ready? So it turns out that Meta is a lot of the money behind the push for age verification laws. So we've got some people that are digging into kind of the lobbying, like shell organizations that are pushing for age verification laws. Why? Right? Is this thread deleted at this point? No. So this thread kind of goes through and follows the money on like who is actually behind pushing for a lot of this. Of course, all of them are like Digital Childhood Alliance, right? Kind of stuff. Turns out a lot of them were Meta is funding a lot of this stuff to these super PACs, right? Meta poured over $70 million in state-level super PACs and structured everyone to avoid the FEC's centralized searchable database. Okay? Dark money network. The company benefits. So why? Right? So there's a few reasons why I think why. Because I think a lot of these bills also are pressing the age verification burden off of the websites, which I said, if we're going to do this, if we're going to go down this path, I agree with it happening at the device level. Basically, do you own a device that can be owned by an adult? Then you're good. You own that device, right? Kind of like alcohol. Like at the time that you have the device, is it an adult device or is it a kid device? And it's a 0 or 1. There's no like identification that you have to do all the time to get into your shit or use the internet. It's just like, can I buy this handle of vodka? Can I buy this device that's an adult device? If I think we're going to go down this path, because it seems like it's unavoidable, that's what I'm thinking the direction should be. I reserve the right to completely change my mind if someone brings up a good point about why that's still not a good idea. Go watch my video called Death of an Anonymous Internet about why I think the de-anonymization of the internet is a bad thing, and being forced to give your government ID to just use the internet and post on social media is a bad thing. If for some reason you're not sure why that's a bad thing. So one of the reasons I think Meta might be pushing for this is that then they don't have to fucking worry about it anymore, right? The devices then have to be registered as a kid or an adult device. Yeah, something like that, right? At the OS level. So it's not like you're identifying yourself legally on the internet to everything that you talk to, right? Apple has this like age verification API that they're building into the apps now, which is also, I don't think quite the right solution. Of all the companies involved, I trust Apple the most here to like handle this in a private way. But if they're being bullied legally, and by jurisdictions to like do this whole de-anonymization thing, which is what they are, right? So just FYI, the age verification thing is not the fucking goal for any of these, right? That's what they're saying it is. That's not what it is. It's not protect the children, right? It's so that they can do, you see it, how many times have we talked about this? Sentiment analysis, right? They like over and over again, we're seeing government agencies respond to people, whether they're crossing a border or whether they're protesting or whether they're whatever. They have a profile of this person's behavior on the internet, right? This is like what Palantir and Anduril and all these kind of companies are building for the government. It's like, tie me to the shit that I'm saying in this video right now. If I was to go to a protest and some AI camera picked up my face, they would have a profile of all the shit that I've said on here. They kind of know where I stand politically, right? That's Like, that's it. That's the goal. It's not to save the children or to protect 15-year-olds from social media. Just ain't it, right? As much as they say it is. So, and behavior analysis. Yeah. And like, there's money to be made on just the sheer, advertising benefit of a completely de-anonymized internet, right? That's why Meta and Google go through so many hoops to try to figure out who you are across the internet, right? Facebook has cookies for everything. As you move around the internet, Facebook knows about you, right? All right, so Horizon OS powers Quest VR headset, already has Meta account age verification, a get age category API, family center, parental controls, Quest storage, age ratings, default minor account protections. I scored Horizon OS 83% compliance on readiness with these mandates, right? That's what I said to my friends. Device settings make sense because you could link to a parent device that has a white list of apps. I completely agree, right? That's kind of where I think, like I said, I think I trust Apple the most here. So I think it's like, did you buy an iPhone that at the time of purchase, was this iPhone an adult iPhone or a child iPhone, right? So it's not like I need to constantly identify myself with a government ID in order to access content on the internet that who deems is appropriate or not, right? Some fuck-ass conservative Republican in the middle of the country is like, this is inappropriate for children, and it's fucking math or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, who deems that this book should or should not be read by a 15-year-old? I'm not in for it, right? I'm not in for, Fahrenheit 451 here. So Meta is not opposing these bills. In Colorado, I pulled lobbying records, monitoring position, not amending, not opposing, watching, right? On every social media regulation bill in Colorado, Meta takes an amending position, actively fighting changes across 117 lobbying records. Meta fights bills that regulate Meta. Meta watches bills that regulate everyone else. See? So this is what I'm saying. Pushing the onus to the operating system is what Meta wants, right? Because this is the only operating system that they own, and it's already does all the stuff that they want it to do. So Meta spent $1 million on state. That's nothing for them, right? They made that in the time it took to read this sentence. On state lobbying in the first 3 quarters of 2025, publicly supported AB 1043, breaking ranks with its own trade associations. Meta supported a bill that creates surveillance infrastructure at the OS level while leaving social media platforms untouched, right? So that's what I'm kind of seeing as like the main prevailing theme is like push the burden to the OS. Why does the company that profits from collecting user data draft legislation requiring every operating system to collect age data and broadcast it to every installed application via a system-level API? Why do these bills mandate commercial age verification vendors whose business model is collecting biometric data? Why is there no data minimization requirements in any of these bills for the age verification data itself? They create a persistent age signal API. Who governs what happens to that data flowing through it? Why does Meta fund an advocacy group with no legal existence in the IRS system to push legislation that creates new data collection infrastructure at a layer below Meta's own products, while Meta faces zero new requirements? Whose lobbyists drafted one of those bills write it to specifically exclude social media platforms from the age verification mandate. If the goal is child safety, why not regulate the operating system? Why regulate the operating system, which has no direct contact with children? Instead, the social media platforms where the documented harms occur. Super interesting. See ya, expat. Thanks for stopping by. This post is super interesting, right? Why am I bringing this up now when I'm talking about the end-to-end encryption thing? Where's the other thread? All right. So is it a coincidence that in the same breath, Meta is pushing to remove encryption and lobbying for age verification laws? Two sides to a very ominous coin. I'm not going to pretend that Meta is some paragon for user privacy, but for a very brief moment, it felt like Mark Zuckerberg was all in on one subset of privacy, possibly in a regulatory, self-serving way, right? This was end-to-end encryption. They weathered enormous government pressure for doing this. This is one of the reasons I've supported the company and spent a lot of time working with their policy people. and engineers over the past few years. There were some commitments made, however, and I've been keeping an eye on those. One was to deploy default, not opt-in, encryption in all their messaging services. To illustrate, here's a diagram I made showing most of the big messaging apps in the world according to who has end-to-end encryption and whether it's on by default. Meta makes up a big portion of this with WhatsApp, right? Instagram, it's opt-in, so not a lot of people are doing it, right? Look at Signal. Little tiny Signal compared to 3 billion WhatsApp users, right? The unencrypted ones come from China, right? That's an interesting point. On the other side of the coin, age verification laws have been popping up like mushrooms in the spring. These require everyone to show ID of some sort in order to use the internet. None of this felt organic, and surprise, it wasn't. Here's, the $2 billion money tracking that it wasn't organic. So in a matter of days, we learned that Meta is casually walking away from a serious public commitments it made to at least protect the privacy of its users' private messages, and is lobbying at huge expense to end privacy on the entire web. This isn't like finding out your neighbor's a serial killer. It's like finding out that the reformed serial killer next door is still killing people. My big fear right now is that AI agents will be the final tool that Meta uses to monetize those big piles of data it still has encrypted in WhatsApp. We'll see secure agents deployed on phones. They'll read your messages and convert them to advertising signals. Others have noted this too, but the problem of age verification and keeping ad-supported networks profitable in the age of AI bots are very similar problems. And I think this is the actual story. Everyone's like, oh, Instagram DMs are not private anymore. They were never fucking private. None of you were using that feature, right? So this is why we've been saying use Signal. But by the way, there's a big crazy web to weave here about all of this stuff. And here, Bill, you're collecting links. Here's the other link. What do we think? Do we think I'm Charlie in It's Always Sunny? Am I conspiracy theory dragging strings across the room? Or is there a there? I think chat just failed again. Am I live? Restream just started throwing an error again. Let me know if you guys still see me. Restream status. Damn it, Restream's down again. I'm seeing your chats show up on my screen, but not in my chat again. Damn. So annoying. Following the money never fails. So I'm going to stay on this screen so I can actually see your chats pop up. Or not. Or chats are just not working. Restream status page is reporting 100% uptime everywhere today. And I've had problems twice since I've been on stream. That sucks. Let me try to pull up my own stream. Everything's cleared now. That is weird. We did have a flicker. Thought it was your internet. So strange. Restream. Really frustrating. Not a good advertisement for Restream, our stream today. It's hard multi-streaming via OBS. I wish it was just like a built-in feature. I wish I didn't have to rely on these like third-party stuff. Tuesday's a bad day for streaming. Well, unfortunately, it's one of the days that I was able to dedicate every morning to. All right, I think we're back. I think Restream is back. Sorry, guys. Sorry for the flicker and the chat issues. All right, so I think I got to record that video too, don't I? What is the hook and title of the two videos that I want to record today? Refresh. Yeah, everyone's back. We're back. We're back. I see you. I see chat. All right, the two videos. Obviously, it's this end-to-end encryption 180 by Meta and how it ties to age verification. That's an obvious video, right? And then the other one, what was the other one I wanted to do? Oh, Striker. Striker. I'm trying to work backwards from like hooks and titles, right? Because all you guys are, I mean, you guys hang out with me a bunch. So you guys obviously care about the content, but my fucking YouTube videos are flopping. So my titles and thumbnails are obviously a major part of that. WhatsApp encryption isn't what you think it is. Yeah. WhatsApp encryption is fine so far, but is it safe, right? Yeah, dude, I made a really good video about browser extension security. 572 views. I mean, that's just like, that's like no views. Make custom thumbnails. Yeah, my editor is making my thumbnails now for me because I'm bad at them too. So I'm just like, all right, well, at least you go do it. Why am I pulling up YouTube Studio while we're chatting? I got to figure out, what we want this to be. Must be millions of views. I don't expect to ever get millions of views, but 500 is no views. You know what I mean? Network type of thumbnails. Yeah. Like I said, there's this balance between, we've talked about this before, right? There's this balance between playing the YouTube game and not, right? Show us the money from your YouTube. You want to see my YouTube studio? I don't care. It's not impressive. Here, do we do earn? How do I figure out? Oh, revenue. You want to see revenue? $127. Don't quit your day jobs, everybody. It's bad. All right. And then, yeah, if we go to videos or overview. Oh, no, I want to see content. Yeah, this, right? It's like, that's a good video. 100% likes. Not that this matters. Yeah, but not great. See, this one is a fantastic video. Like, really, really good video. I knew that it wasn't going to algorithmically do well, but this is like probably one of the better videos that I've made, going through that Unit 42 report. Claudebot security nightmare did okay, I guess. If we sort by views, my browser one organically did the best. This one is promoted because that was a promo video, so that one's promoted. This is not a Threat Intel Works. Might have also had a little bit of a boost. Some of these other ones, no, that one's legit. Those are all organic. This was promoted. This is legit, 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 legit. Yeah, that's it. So it was really just that one and that one were promoted. Play the YouTube game for a week straight with crazy titles, custom thumbnails as a test. Man, I tried like way back when. My thumbnails were crap, but it was kind of the meta back then to do like these bright colored things or whatnot. But underrated YouTube channel. Yeah, I mean, you just got to stick with it, right? I guess. But I don't want to just like bang my head against the wall at the same time, you know? It's unfortunate. We'll keep doing the dang thing. I'm going to try to throw in some more evergreen content instead of just like news content. Especially now that I'm using an editor, I'm slower to get stuff out. So it's definitely harder for news to do well when I get it out like a week later, you know, or 2 weeks later. You're here for the journey. I know everyone in here is kind of proven homies, right? Like you guys get it. You guys get what I'm up to. All right. You're watching me at 2x speed. Actually, when I watch my own videos back for like editing or anything, I do watch it at 1.5. I like watching most YouTube videos at least 1.5. All right, what are the hooks? I wish that AI current live stream format since the start of the year. Yeah, Bill, but not the live stream. I don't care that the live streams are just like 20 of you hanging out. That's whatever. I never expected there to be like hundreds of people in the live stream. But the videos that I'm putting out are kind of the same that I was doing last year. And I feel like I was doing way better last year than this year. And this year I've put a lot more money and time and effort into it, which just shows you that like production value is not like the main thing that you should focus on for sure. All right, let's lock in. We're going to record 2 videos and then we'll, maybe we'll end with some reactions, or you want to do some reactions first? If any of you hate when I record videos, I can do that. John Hamm has millions of subs and only like 102. Yeah. I'm not worried about sub count. I'm not worried about stream viewers. I'm not really worried about much of anything. I just want the videos that I actually put out, like the long videos that I put the effort into and money into with editing. Like my editor's expensive. You know what I mean? Like, and like I'm doing sponsors as one of it. So I want my sponsors to like get clicks on stuff like on my videos and whatnot so that they're happy too. So that's really it. I don't really care about millions of subscribers. I don't really care about a ton of people in here watching. I don't think that YouTube AdSense is ever like that YouTube revenue that was like $120. I don't think that number is ever going to get crazy for me, right? I don't think I'm going to be putting out those types of videos. But yeah, man. 2 questions. Is age verification linked to an ID, or is it illegal to use a friend? Because then it's really is device level. I don't think legality has anything to do with it. What's up, Tiberius? Another actual pro streamer in the chat, hanging out with the noob streamer. What up? Which video first? That's a good question. I think meta, because it's kind of fresh on the brain. I think the meta one's probably pretty good to get out. Other random thought. Sorry, I'm all over the place. And I just got a text message that made me ask. Not sure you're a pro, but thank you. Everyone go follow Tiberius if you don't. Tiberius is a pro, whether his humble ass says so or not. But he is legit. Like, works in the industry, makes content that, like, he knows what he's talking about. A lot of cybersecurity content creators aren't actually technical cybersecurity people. Tiberius is not one of those. Thanks for stopping in, Tibbs. I've met him in person too. He's a real boy. He's a real boy. He's not an AI bot. I can attest to his realness. All right. Tiberius, weigh in. I would like to make a YouTube video right now. First of all, I want your opinion. Is it taboo to be live streaming while recording YouTube videos? I do it anyway, but because this is like half the time that I have to do it. It's nice to be scrolling feed on YouTube and you find me live. Sweet. Tuesday and Thursday mornings is my live schedule right now. And occasionally Wednesdays, but so this is the YouTube video topic, but that's not the hook. That headline's not the hook. The hook is, oh crap. The hook is all the Matthew Green stuff in here. Tyler records while live. Yeah, I think Prime used to, and Theo does too. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, that's what I've been doing, man. It's just helped me time box. Like, I go live for about 3 or 4 hours on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And it used to take me probably 6 hours to do a YouTube video, just soup to nuts. So now that like I'm like two birds, one stoning. I'm live streaming, talking to you guys, building the community. And I can like really kind of lock in and pump out a video in like 20 minutes while live, at least the raw recording of it. And then I pass it off to an editor now. And then the YouTube video just kind of happens. So it's like way better. You mess up way too much. Yeah, I do retakes and shit too. I don't care, you know. I don't care that you guys are watching me misspeak and stuff. But here's the topic, right? Is that Meta basically was committing publicly to end-to-end encryption for years. Mark Zuckerberg personally promises the privacy feature that would launch by default on Messenger and Instagram chat, right? So it's just like they've publicly since 2022 kind of made stance that they are committing to end-to-end encryption. They are now reversing it. And Matthew Green is tying this to the age verification stuff going on right now. So yeah, they're removing the end-to-end encryption option in Instagram, but that's like not the actual story, right? So I'm trying to figure out like a good YouTube hook to like start with here. Do I use Adobe? No. I have edited my own videos for the last couple of years. I've never really wanted to put the time to like become a good video editor because it's not what I want to get up and do. It's not what gets me up in the morning, right? So like I've never climbed the learning curve to become a better video editor. So I got good enough, and then you know, to start the YouTube channel, and now it's like whatever. I'm going to throw some money at it and hire the editor. All right, I could use some more coffee. Maybe let's pump out one YouTube video. I'll refill my coffee. We'll do the second, and then we'll do reaction content for the rest of the stream. Sound good? I just can't think of the hook for this. I got to think of the hook. Do you guys hear background noise? There's like a lot of people in my office building today. I don't think that they're loud enough for this mic to pick it up at this point. I'm just curious if you hear background chatter. You record the hook after the video. Man, that's pro YouTuber shit right there. The AI training is a hook. The fact that it's on the same page is wild. Yeah. Right? This thing. All right. Oh, wait. And this has to be part of the video too, right? This, of course, has to be part of it. I traced $2 billion in nonprofit grants and 45 states of lobbying records to figure out who's behind the age verification bill. And it's Meta. 877 cash now. What up, JG Wentworth? Something that ties to the bigger concern of data harvesting AI. Yeah. This page, right? This is part of it. Oh, whoops. Dungeon Crawler Carl is not part of it. It should be. Hook, title, thumbnail, the YouTube Trinity. Yeah, man, that's why I'm sitting here trying to think about it. Since, like, historically, I just try to, like, make good content, and I don't put a lot of, and then I'm, like, publishing, and I'm like, oh, shit, I got to make a thumbnail and a title. And, like, pro YouTubers work backwards, right? They think of really good title and thumbnail ideas and then make videos about it, right? The Dungeon AI. Yeah, JG Wentworth knows DCC. No one else in chat knew what DCC was. I'm a DCC super fan over here. I've read all 7 books, and I just reread the first book again the past 2 days. I just finished it this morning. So, what's up? You're about to finish the 7th? Cool. I met him and got his autograph a few weeks ago. He came to Austin with his new book, Operation Bounce House, he was promoting. And so I got to meet him and got his autograph. That was super cool. I got to listen to him chat for a little bit. They basically did like a live podcast with some crew here in Austin that does the Dungeon Crawler Carl podcast. He's just a nerd, dude. He's just a nerd, you know, Gen X nerd who grew up on video games and is now writing a bunch of stuff. You saw he's been doing the circuit. Yeah. His new book is actually good. I did pick it up and was reading it. And then I put it down and reread the first book of Dungeon Crawler Carl in 2 days on Audible, you know, so like as I'm driving or, you know, just hanging around the house. All right. We're going to lock in and record. I'm going to hide chat, everybody. Sorry. Bye-bye chat. All right, lock in. We make YouTube videos for a living, right? All right. I think the hook is Meta is reversing a years-long stance and commitment to privacy in the form of end-to-end encryption, and the reason might have to do with AI. I think that's the hook, right? I think that's the hook. And then it's kind of like, and then there's a dark money trail that people are following to figure out that helped figure out that Meta was actually behind a lot of the modern age verification push that's going on recently. Why is Meta? No one ever asks how is Meta. All right. This really stinks, right? Because like I've talked to the WhatsApp team a ton, and they say that they're very firewalled off from the rest of Meta, and so they do their own thing. So they've asked me to like promote certain things over the past. I haven't done it. I've said that I would though. Like, I'm not anti-WhatsApp. I do think it's like A tier private messenger. I don't think it's S tier because it's not open source, but I think it's A tier in terms of private messenger. But man, this is really hard. So it's like hard. I'm going to make this video and I'm sure that the WhatsApp team is going to be like, yo, bro, why you do that? But I'm not, like I said, I still think WhatsApp is currently still fine. It's just, it's hard to look at this direction that they're going and be like, I'm confident that this will stay in a privacy preserving, awesome direction. You know what I mean? Another short video idea. I should do more of those, just like short little rants. I should do that. All right. Lock in. For some reason, a bunch of people just showed up. Everyone just showing up. We've been talking news. I'm going to record a YouTube video. So if you just showed up, for some reason, the number of viewers just went up by like a decent chunk. Sorry if I don't reply to your chat. I'm recording a YouTube video starting in a few seconds here. As soon as no matter how long I do this, and I'm sitting here live on camera right now, and hitting record is so hard. I don't know, Tiberius, if you're still here. Like, I think a lot of content creators feel the same way. Hitting the record button, there's something about it, man. Just like staring down the barrel of a gun. I'm sitting in a room by myself. You guys are yapping with me. I'm sitting in a room by myself, and it's like I'm staring down the barrel of the gun here, and like I gotta hit record, and it's, what's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another YouTube. Don't forget to YouTube. Smash that YouTube. There's something about sitting in a room by yourself and just like hitting the fucking button. You know what I mean? Pre-recording anxiety. It's not even anxiety. It's just like a block, right? It's just like weird block. All right. What do I got? I got all that. We can close all this. All right. So we're starting here. We're going to talk about this. Then we're going to tie it to Matthew. This one first. This one second. This one third. This one fourth. This one in there somewhere. All right. So you're scared to lock in. It's not natural. Lock in, King. Thanks for cheering me on, Roman. I appreciate you. Appreciate you mucho. What the fuck is Round Cube? My Twitter is blowing up. That Round Cube exploit kit. Targeting Ukrainian government email. I don't know what it is. Twitter blowing up, doing Twitter blowing up things. All right, here we go. Yo, Restream keeps like congratulating me that I had 100 messages today. This is the third time that I've gotten this like trophy, 100 messages today. It's like, no, you keep crashing, Restream. I've had hundreds of messages today. Yeah, Bill, I agree. I think it does tie like into the age verification for sure. I think so for sure. All right. Chat. No, don't please distract me, please, for the love. We're gonna everyone say hi to my my editor starting now. We're recording. Okay. The biggest social network on the planet is reversing its stance on user privacy that it's held for a number of years at this point. And the reason that it's doing so might tie to dark money, AI, and age verification. I feel like Charlie Day tying strings all over It's Always Sunny meme to conspiracy about this story. But seriously, I'm going to paint the picture for you. And at the end of this video, we're going to decide, is this conspiracy? Is this legit? We also just need to figure out, why is Meta reversing its stance? Spoiler alert, it was Meta. So everyone saw this headline come out this week about Instagram is reversing course on its end-to-end encrypted chat. So I saw a lot of headlines say, your Instagram DMs are no longer private. Spoiler alert, they were never private. This was an opt-in opt-in feature, meaning none of you used it. None of you used it. This was a very, very small percentage of people that were actually using end-to-end encrypted Instagram DMs. That's why they're pulling the trigger. And it's why us cybersecurity and privacy advocates say that this needs to be on by default. Right here in the article, very few people were opting into end-to-end encrypted messages and DMs, so we're removing this option from Instagram in the coming months. Anyone who wants to keep messaging with end-to-end encryption can easily do so on WhatsApp. But why? Why are they removing this feature even though people were opting in? To consult with my high holy council of cryptography, which is really just one person, and that's Matthew Green, who is a professor of cryptography over at Johns Hopkins, who actually works with Meta on building these systems, right? He's helped design these systems. He's rooting for Meta. He points out that WhatsApp is one of the biggest messaging apps on the planet, and it does integrate, and it does do end-to-end encryption by default, which is hyper important. They make up a huge portion of end-to-end encrypted chats because WhatsApp is end-to-end encrypted by default, which is why he scratches his head on this one. I'm scratching my head on this one. And we have some interesting points here about its ties to AI and age verification. We're going to get to it. He points out the big tell in the statement is that end-to-end encryption does not work if it's opt-in. Meta knows this, has always said that, and is now stating that that's the reason that they are turning it off, which is the opposite of what they've said. Right here from Matthew. They seem to have quietly abandoned the push for encryption to be on by default, and now they're quietly abandoning encryption altogether. This is a complete big 180. Matthew then starts pulling up articles from 2022 where Meta made the exact opposite stance and commitment. They published findings from a human rights impact assessment that actually talked about end-to-end encryption by default in Messenger and Instagram DMs, and the assessment recommended that they do put this on by default. They committed to doing it. He pulls an old Wired article where it actually says Mark Zuckerberg personally promised that the privacy feature would launch by default on Messenger and Instagram chat. They're messing this up so bad that literally on the same page of the help article about this feature where they update and say that they're turning it off, they actually have this part down here. We're working hard to protect your personal messages and calls with end-to-end encryption by default on Messenger and Instagram. That was what the page said. Then they updated it this week and said, hey, very few people were opting in, so we're removing the option from Instagram in the coming months. This is literally the opposite of we're working hard to turn this on by default. So while everyone is out here clamoring and saying your Instagram DMs are no longer private, I'm saying, no, they never were. You never opted in. They never actually got to the point where they, by default, end-to-end encrypted it. And then Matthew ended this thread with what I think is the actual story here bearing the lead. WhatsApp is still maintaining end-to-end encryption, but how long do you think that will be true? And so much valuable training data for Meta will now have access to. And this is where the AI tie comes in. It's also impossible to ignore that Meta is doing this in literally the same couple of days that we're starting to see these giant, huge groundswells in age verification. If you haven't seen, go watch my other video. I'll have my editor put it on screen here of the death of the anonymous internet. We have a Discord was kind of the one that everyone was focusing the bullseye on here, but all social media companies are currently dealing with this wave of legislation about age verification, which is forcing certain companies to either take parts of their service offline for certain states or countries, or they're forced to gather your government ID or do some AI third-party age verification of you in order to allow you access to certain content. That content and what content is deemed appropriate for people of what age is very loose and defined by jurisdiction. It's becoming very hard for a lot of these companies to operate in each of these jurisdictions to figure out who needs to do what. But wait, how does this tie to end-to-end encryption? So as Matthew says, I'm not going to pretend that Meta is some paragon of user privacy, but for a very brief moment, it felt that Zuck was all in on one subset of privacy, possibly in a regulatory, self-serving way. They weathered enormous government pressure for doing this. He's talking about default end-to-end encryption. This is one reason I've supported the company and spent a lot of time working with their policy people and engineers over the past few years. There were some commitments made, however, and I've been keeping an eye on those. One was to deploy default, not opt-in encryption on all their messaging services. These aren't services I use much, but their user numbers are high. To illustrate this, look at the encrypted messaging numbers here. By default is gray. WhatsApp is by far the biggest swath of by default encrypted messaging. iMessage makes up another huge swath of that. Instagram was optional, opt-in, which as we're seeing, this number is probably deceivingly large because there's no way the 2 billion people were opting in. But then you have Signal, Line, Viber. Facebook Messenger was on by default for a brief period of time. Telegram is not on by default. You can go watch my video about Signal versus Telegram versus WhatsApp to tell all the differences. And then you get to the no end-to-end encryption, and guess what? They're all Chinese apps. He even points that out. Notice most of the big unencrypted apps are from China. On the other side of this same coin is the age verification laws that have been popping up like mushrooms in the spring. These require everyone to show an ID of some sort in order to use the internet, including most social media companies. None of this felt organic, and surprise, it wasn't. So what is he talking about here? This post went hyper viral. When I say hyper viral, I mean hyper viral. Like a tweet from VX Underground got 65.5 million views on this topic. And it's all talking about this Reddit post that traced a bunch of money across a bunch of PACs and dark lobbying groups and all this kind of stuff, and traced it back to actually Meta funding a lot of the age verification laws going into place. Well, a certain swath of them, and we'll get to that. There's a pretty good Reddit post. We're not going to go through the whole web that they weave here because it's a little bit separate from the end-to-end encryption conversation that we're having, but it's an important backdrop of what we're talking about. A lot of these groups that are funding this stuff, these age verification groups, are doing so under the guise of protect the children. Again, I talk about this a lot in my Death of Anonymous Internet video, that's really not the actual motive behind a lot of these. But these groups, these nonprofits, these donations are coming from these groups that don't actually exist, and they are just fronts for people who are otherwise interested in pushing their agenda, and their agenda happens to be anti-encryption and pro you self-identifying yourself to every website that you go to so that you cannot use them anonymously. One term that you're going to see a lot in this kind of stuff is, and I need to harp on it as much as I can, is sentiment analysis. This is a term that these groups are using where government agencies or investigative bodies need to do sentiment analysis to decide where you stand on certain issues. They do this by tying your real identity to your online communications. A lot of people self-identify online. I'm doing this under my name. I post on social media under my name. If I go cross the border and they decide to give me a hard time based on videos that I've made or things that I've said online, that's my own fault. But a lot of people are going to ratchet up what they say online because they're not like me. I think I'm pretty, even keel on things that I talk about generally until they decide what I'm talking about is not the right sentiment that they would like to put up with, and I get a hard time. But some other people are obviously saying a lot more inflammatory stuff, or they themselves are part of an identity of what they want to, how they identify themselves, right? Whether it's their gender or sexual identity, maybe they can't exist anonymously. They can't exist unanonymous on the internet and have a good time or cross a border or into a country that is not friendly to their identity. So this is where the anonymous stuff starts to come in. So this post continues to go on. We're just going to get to the Meta part, right? So tracing the money, this all kind of comes back to Meta through lobbying groups. And the thing that they actually hone in on is pushing the age verification onus off of them and other social media sites, right? So Meta owns a operating system company that powers their VR headsets. And that operating system has a lot of the age verification stuff that they would also be part of, right? So they can do this whole get age category API thing, family center parental controls. Basically, with a lot of these laws, this Horizon OS is going to comply with their laws up to 83%, right? Here's the point in this Reddit investigation that I want you all to hone in on, right? Meta fights bills that regulate Meta. Meta watches bills that regulate everyone else. They want to push this age verification onus onto the operating systems because they already have an operating system that it complies with a lot of these laws, okay? But where does the privacy question come in, right? Why does the company that profits from collecting user data draft legislation requiring every operating system to collect age data and broadcast it to every installed application via a system-level API? Why do these bills mandate commercial age verification vendors whose business model is collecting biometric data Why do these bills mandate commercial age verification vendors whose business model is collecting biometric data, while the EU's equivalents use open source zero knowledge proofs that reveal nothing beyond over 18? Why is there no data minimization requirements in any of these bills, right? Like, there should be requirements in here that say, hey, you cannot and should not collect certain information. You shouldn't store information for certain long lengths of time. There are certain things that you can do here to do age verification without collecting all this data. Why does Meta fund an advocacy group with no legal existence in the IRS system to push legislation that creates new data collection infrastructure at a layer below Meta's own products, while Meta faces zero new requirements? If the goal is child safety, why regulate the operating system, which has no direct contact with the children, instead of the social media platforms where their documented harm occurs? Where's the... So this is going back. So this is the other side of the coin that Matthew is bringing up, right? So that was a quick detour on the age verification laws not being organic, actually being funded by groups, some of which Meta has some money involved with. So in a matter of days, we learned that Meta is casually walking away from serious public commitments it made to at least protect the privacy of its users' private messages, and it's lobbying at huge expense to end privacy on the entire web in general. I love this quote. This is the quote of the thread. This isn't like finding out your neighbor is a serial killer. It's like finding out the reformed serial killer next door is still killing people, just more quietly. All right, so now we've tied the end-to-end encryption debate to the age verification debate, and here comes AI, because of course AI might have its tendrils in this. My big fear right now is that AI agents will be the final tool that Meta uses to monetize those big piles of data it still has encrypted in WhatsApp. We'll see secure agents deployed on phones. They'll read your messages and convert them into advertising signals. Others have noted this too, but the problem of age verification and keeping ad-supported networks profitable in the age of AI bots everywhere are very similar problems. And I couldn't agree more, right? So I found this article in that thread as a reply, the AI Emperor's new encryption close, how the AI race is reshaping the end-to-end encryption landscape. I'll include this link to this article below. But the one quote that I wanted to pull out here, it talks a lot about kind of the current state of end-to-end encryption across these things. But this is a quote from a Meta article. The current state of AI processing which relies on large language models, often running on servers rather than on mobile hardware, requires that users' requests are visible to the provider. Although that works for many use cases, it presents challenges in enabling people to use AI to process private messages while preserving the level of privacy afforded by end-to-end encryption. So the article that is quoting from is right here. And I think this talks a lot to the end point of Matthew Green's thread. Building private processing for AI tools in WhatsApp. So this isn't even in the Instagram DMs. This is in the actual end-to-end encrypted ecosystem that is WhatsApp. I want to be clear. I have a video talking about WhatsApp versus Signal versus Telegram. I kind of put Signal as the S tier in terms of encrypted messaging apps. I think WhatsApp uses the same technology under the hood as Signal does. So it should at least be A's here. It loses a few points because it's not open source like Signal, and it does have this relationship to Meta. And this is where I think those points being lost versus Signal start to rear its head, because now we see the pressures of Meta and what it actually wants to do in terms of AI features finding its way into WhatsApp. So like Matthew said, we're going to start to see these secure processing things start to pop up to build these AI features into the training data. We set out to enable AI capabilities with the privacy that people have come to expect from WhatsApp. So this is AI, but still privacy. So they're hoping that it's going to be, they're saying there's some tenets here, right? That it's optional. So the features that include private processing must be optional. We must provide transparency when our features using private processing. And for people's most sensitive chats that require extra assurance, they must be able to prevent messages from being used for AI features, like mentioning Meta AI in chats and all this kind of stuff. So basically what they're saying here is they want to start to build AI features into WhatsApp, like summarization of your chats. But how do you do AI summaries of your chats if they're end-to-end encrypted? Which do you think is going to win here? Do you think end-to-end encryption is going to win here, or the constant pressure from AI and from governments governments are also highly anti end-to-end encryption and pro this age verification, and governments haven't even figured out where they stand on all these AI features yet. So I think that this story that everyone is claiming of Instagram DMs are no longer private is the wrong one. I think the right one has a lot more to do with this crazy web that we just weaved, right? What is the relationship between the fight against end-to-end encryption, the fight to make you identify yourself in order to use the internet, especially social media sites? Some examples we have going on right now in government agencies where they're using your online presence to target you. We look at ICE and their sentiment analysis that they're doing right now to decide whether to go after you or not. Or the very obvious and real risk of all of these companies and sites collecting all of this new biometric and government ID data about you that eventually they will, of course, misuse or lose in a hack or in a nation state threat actor coming in and stealing a lot of this data, or otherwise just losing the data. And this is, your most sensitive identification data that anyone could use to spoof your ID or whatever it is. There are so many reasons to not go down this path. Please go watch my other video about the death of the anonymous internet and all the EFF articles that I link in that one that kind of help us figure out what we can do against this and what we need to watch out for. Anytime that you see this sentiment analysis, of law enforcement agencies using these features in order to keep you safe, or especially this protect the children stuff in terms of saving children from, otherwise nefarious content that some high holy council gets to determine what includes, what books we can read, and what anything that they deem is unsafe to children is all of a sudden illegal. This is the stuff that we need to worry about. So go check out that other video. If this was useful, please do all the YouTube stuff down below and follow for more cybersecurity news. All right, done recording. Why the hell do we have 120 people in Twitch not saying anything? How the heck did, like, I mean, I'm live on stream. You guys know that, and you guys all hang out here a lot. What in the hell is all that? Someone's randomly botting. It's so weird. Why does that happen? Am I going to get dinged for that? I mean, that's so dumb. I don't know why that happens. All right, chat, you want to come back? You can come hang out. How'd I do on that video? Not my strongest performance. I think I kind of lost the script there in my brain a few times, but I think it'll do. Folder. YouTube filming gave you bots. Yeah, it was kind of weird. It was distracting for a little bit, but it's all right. All right. What was this? This is meta kills end-to-end encryption. All right. And then let me upload this. So all right, that video, and I need a better local video storage thing. I like that you show these in videos. Helps with attention span. Yeah. I'm talking about things the bots want to listen to. Oh no. All right, bots, present your government IDs. That's so weird. I've never seen that happen. I've been a Twitch streamer for a while. I've never seen like 120 something silent accounts just show up. All right, let me copy this folder, dump in Slack. YouTube. Oh God, I opened Slack. Oh my gosh, so much. Why did I open Slack? There's too much stuff in here to do. Oh, well, at least I opened it and we have a most recent Striker video showing up. And we're going to record Striker next. All right. Uploaded. Bots gift me subs now. Yeah, I mean, I wish it was real. We're cracking down on view bots. Also Twitch. You know, so what I thought happened, so the only time I've ever seen the number jump like that, I thought I got rated, but then usually people are like yapping, right? Usually it's like, we're rating you, you know? Striker says it's restoring systems. Well, the cause of the breach is still under investigation. I mean, it's pretty obvious that an admin just got popped, either phishing or malware on the admin, right? Yeah, phishing. Yeah, it's pretty obvious that they phished an admin that had Intune access. Pretty obvious to me. All right, that's uploaded. Oh shit, I'm actually running out of time because I gotta Wait, let me just check really quick. Yeah, 12:30 to 1 and then 1 to 2. I got to record these videos. Oh, I got to set up. All right, I probably got to go. Well, I could hang with you guys while I set up. But I got to figure out, do I not have fucking Chrome on my computer? That's so funny. I don't. Does Restream work in Brave? Or I got to do, what is it called? What is it called? What is the podcast recording app called? Oh my God. Brain fart. It's not, I can't get Restream out of my head. Riverside. Jesus Christ. Riverside. That's what it is. I got to get Riverside set up. Riverside's where I used to do all my editing. They had like pretty good AI editing button there. What up, Andrew? Welcome. You recorded the video you see still not live? Oh yeah, it's going to take my editor a few days to put that out. I record the video locally when I yap, and then my editor cuts it and transitions and B-roll and anything like that he does. That'd be sick if it was just live all of a sudden. All right, vulnerable use studio. New. A new project. We're going to be talking to iVerify. We're going to record. How do I do this? I haven't recorded in live stream in a minute. I need to like set up a room, right? Allow. You are joining as a host. Yeah. We'll use the host. I can join the studio. I can mute that and invite someone to join remotely. Open a new window. Isn't this so annoying when you like host your own thing? I have to like join via a private browser. Allow. Matt Johansson. I'm not using headphones. Why does it echo though? That's right. How do I do this? It echoes. So in the host, I can mute this. No, that's muting myself for sure. I'm doing the pod with some of the people who have been tracking that spyware thing at iVerify. Damn. Oh, wait. I can mute like a whole tab, right? Mute tab. There we go. Okay, cool. So I mute that tab and then this one works. Okay, cool. I got it now. I remembered my little trick. So what I should do is actually have like my editor like host me in Riverside. Wait, why am I 720p and it just atrociously washed out? Is it because? No, I think I do pay for. 720p. Gross. I can't even up that? Oh, wow. I cannot up that. 720p. Sounds like, oh, you guys heard that? Sorry. Yeah, it was like me talking to myself in two different browser windows, basically. Max quality 720p. Yeah, I guess that's just what it is. It sucks. Oh my God. Yeah, Riverside is super expensive. I don't really do that. Record the second still. I wish I had time. Do I have time? I got to be on that by 12:30. So I got 20 minutes. I could try to bang out Striker. Reveling. Never mind. I could try to bang out Striker. All right, let's see. What are we talking about? So Striker was the target. Wiper malware. Handala. Says Striker Corporation hacked. Not really. We kind of already prepared together, right? I'm going to just get them to talk about some of the stuff. I'm just trying to grab sound clips, right? So if I got half an hour with him, I'm not going to release the whole conversation, but I just want sound clips from them about this stuff that I can use in a video. Yeah, no. At that point, maybe I just record this. It's a Google Meet. Maybe we just record the Google Meet, and my dude can just grab the Google Meet thing. Let me ask my editor real quick if he's online. He's not. All right, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. Everyone, we're gonna do it. Not this. We're gonna do not this. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. This. What else do we have to pull up for this? I put out a story about this too, didn't I? Volnew.com. Everyone go subscribe. Yay. Yay. Yeah. So I can bring my own stuff up. And then there was one other bit that I wanted to. This Reddit post. If you guys don't know, I've been putting out these like dedicated articles about topics that we cover on volnew.com. So not just the newsletter. I've been like summarizing a lot of the stuff. So, and I don't email these out. So these would be in like RSS feeds for Volnew. There was, yeah, here. The register. I think I linked to it somewhere, right? Checkpoint, Reddit, bleeping, Kim Zetter, Reddit post, the register. Yeah, this one. Yeah. Okay. This Reddit post was fun. All right. We got to bang this out in like less than 15 minutes. Let's do it. All right. We're going to start here. Not there. Here. Okay. This one. What's up, Nicholas? Thanks for saying hi. And yep, Striker. We're going to make a Striker video real quick. Excuse me while I record. We're entering a new era of cyber warfare. We've got private companies being attacked due to an ongoing actual physical kinetic conflict, this time with Iran. And there's a few major points about this Stryker attack. You guys have probably read the news about this. If you haven't, this medical supply firm Stryker, this is a giant company. A lot of my people that work in and around of medtech were impacted by this. My DMs are filled. I made a video about this on Instagram. My DMs got filled with Stryker employees because of one of the major points that makes this one different is that if you were an employee of Stryker and you let them put their managed device profile onto your mobile device to access your corporate email via your own personal device, your personal phone got wiped in a cyber attack. I think the second thing that makes this one stand out to me is that in a war, we have a private company getting cyber attacked to every sense of the word. Usually cyber security stuff that we're dealing with, there's some espionage component or financial component. Here, it was just pure destruction from Iranian hackers in retaliation for some of the bombing that was going on by the US and Israel in this current conflict. So this is the first article that when the attack actually happened. This was last week, but we have some more up-to-date information that we're going to get to too. So they said that they stole 50 terabytes of data before wiping tens of thousands of systems and servers across the company's network, forcing Stryker to shut down. Unprecedented blow. I can confirm that a lot of people, even in my live chat, as I was talking about this, that work in that industry, in the supply chain industry, are currently looking for alternatives to stay in business and stay operational that don't have to do with Stryker, because that's how destructive this attack was. These are rare. These types of wiper attacks are rare, especially at this scale. And usually these Stryker attacks usually these wiper attacks need a wiper malware. Spoiler alert, this one didn't use any malware. We're going to get to how. The hackers come out and claimed responsibility right away. And they say the reason, the Zionist-rooted corporation Stryker, one of the key arms of the globalist Zionist lobby and central ring for the new Epstein chain, has been struck with an unprecedented blow. These are the hackers kind of come out and saying this and claiming responsibility. Tons of employees report the attack disrupted access to internal services and applications, forcing some locations to revert to pen and paper workflows after systems became unavailable. Stryker came out right away and confirmed the attack, filed the 8K with the SEC that they have to because they're a giant publicly traded company. But they gave us very little information about the actual breadth or cause, right, of the actual attack. Upon detection, the company activated the cybersecurity response plan, launched investigation. This is basically all we've got. But now we've got more details. So this is from today. This came out. Stryker attack wiped tens of thousands of devices, no malware needed. Let's think about what maybe could have happened to tens of thousands of devices, including personal cell phones, that would have let them wipe it without malware. Oh, that would be a feature of Microsoft Intune. This is MDM gone rogue. The organization is saying that this is actually, the organization is coming out and saying, hey, this is actually the reason that this isn't that serious of an attack, because all of the systems that all of our customers talk to are safe. This is just our Microsoft managed systems. Our investigators did not find any indication that data was exfiltrated. This is counter to the hackers' claim. So we'll see which one of those winds up being true in the coming days and weeks. But they're saying employees started waking up in multiple countries complaining that their managed devices had been remotely wiped overnight. We actually have evidence of this. If you go follow some Reddit threads from the morning that it happened, you got people saying, hey, my wife had 3 Stryker managed devices, and around 3:30 in the morning, they were wiped. Personal devices, people's personal cell phones, their SIM cards were wiped. They had to contact their carrier to get back access to their phones. Employees, my phone is completely wiped, locked out of email. Same, I can't get back into my cell plan either. Absolute nightmare. Me too. VPN was on personal phone. Now it won't let me log in. Luckily, I have a Mac that was logged into iMessage so I can actually text colleagues from there. Here's the number for Verizon. They can restore your deleted eSIM. How do we call if our phone is locked? Happened to me too. 4.5 hours ago, many colleagues' phones have been wiped, instructed to remove Intune, company portal, Teams, VPN from personal devices. Personal phones so lost, I've lost access to my eSIM. Sounds like one of their admins got fished. Yep, it's bad. Got hacked from an Iran-linked group. I mean, you could just scroll through this comment thread, and it's a bunch of employees or spouses of employees that are reacting to their devices getting wiped. So this is a bit of a departure from a lot of usual cyber attacks. Personal phones, just because you work at an employee getting wiped, we don't see that often. If we've ever seen it at that scale, I can't remember a time. So if you're watching this, and if you're just logged into your company's stuff via like Slack or whatever on your phone, that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about companies actually installing the managed portal, the managed device profile on your phone. That allows them, they might say, hey, we're only going to manage corporate data. We're not going to look at your personal data when you install this, but that's just policy. That's not a technical guardrail. The technology that you're installing absolutely does have the ability to wipe your device or read information off your device that is personal of nature. This is by design, right? If you work for a company, they give you a cell phone, you've got a bunch of corporate data on your phone, and then you leave that company or you get fired, that IT company wants to be able to wipe all of the corporate data from that device before you're out on the streets doing whatever you're doing, maybe pissed that you just got laid off. I wrote a summary of this, of all the different bits and pieces of Iranian war-related cyber things over on volnew.com. This is my newsletter site, but I also have been writing these kind of conglomerate write-ups of topics that I cover on videos here. So if you want to go see, like, Rapid7 has some like indicators of compromise or threat hunting type information, you go here. But one of the things that I wanted to point out that I put in that write-up is Iran is naming their future targets, and they're naming physical locations. So we have just a few weeks ago, Iran also bombed an AWS data center in Bahrain and Dubai, causing data centers in AWS to go completely offline due to drone strikes. But they're now naming other Western technology companies as targets, not just the companies in cyber attacks, but also kinetic warfare. They're naming actual office locations in these Telegram groups that they're going to attack. So I wanted to call that out as well, depending on how seriously you take these threats. Stryker is out here saying, this also just came out this morning, that Stryker's saying that they are restoring their systems in place by this. But this is just like a very unique look at what a widespread, massive attack, because of mobile device management, meaning no ransomware, no malware. We are just guessing here, but we're probably talking about the phishing of an admin of Intune. So if you're an Intune admin at your org, you are absolutely a personal target. If they could have gotten onto your device, either just by phishing and grabbing your token to get into the admin portal of Intune, or if they could compromise your personal device with malware and then use that access to pivot and literally wipe your entire company, that's definitely on the table. It's funny here in the Bleeping Computer article, they link to the Microsoft docs that actually say, hey, the remote device action wipe. This is the function that they used to wipe hundreds of thousands of devices off of Stryker's network. I guarantee that I'm making this video. If anybody watches this, there's going to be employees or someone who's really been impacted by this attack that's going to show up in the comments or show back up in my DMs. It's been happening constantly since I made the first video about this. So we're definitely seeing cybersecurity be a huge part of these modern conflicts. Russia and Ukraine, we're seeing it all day. And now Iran, US, and Israel are definitely deploying massive cyber components of what otherwise used to be mostly kinetic warfare. So we're going to keep an eye on this one. I'll let you know of any updates based on the ongoing conflict. So follow along from our cybersecurity news. All right, cool. We did the dang thing, and I'm not late to my meeting. It was quick and dirty, but we did it. I think we covered enough. Let's make one more video. All right. Well played, well played, well played. Professional YouTuber here, everybody. Professional YouTuber. Doing the professional YouTuber thing. All right, I got about 5 minutes to go to re-up my coffee and everything and get ready for my podcast. Check out, oh, look at that. All the bots disappeared. Did you guys notice that? Bot exodus. Literally like 100 at a time. It's wild. Stupid. Why would I get view? But if any of you Twitch people know, I don't know why we get why I would get view botted if I have nothing to do with it, you know? It's so weird. So weird. All right. So I'm going to go have a conversation with two people at iVerify to talk about this stuff. And we're going to put out a much more in-depth video than I usually do because I'm going to interview these people. I'm going to bring a lot of receipts. I'm going to kind of do a little documentary about this attack. It's going to come out after RSA. I think we're looking at mid-April for this. So now imagine how many bots are in those big streams. Yeah, totally. So if you guys have any questions about this Karuna stuff, basically, there's some non-public info that it's more serious than even the current research that's out is leading it to be. So that'll probably come out before my video. So then we can talk about that. But then we're going to put together kind of a whole video about this and like painting the whole picture. And then we can kind of go from there. All right, guys, I'm going to refill my coffee, hit the head, and go record those interviews with iVerify. And thanks for hanging out. Good stream today. Felt good. Got the energy up. I think we covered some good topics. It was fun. All my favorite people were here. Specifically, Roman, you're my favorite. You're my favorite person. Glassworm, new malware. All right, Galaxy, we'll talk about that Thursday. Glassworm. Or if I look it up after stream, I'll make a short about it.